And I am Busty Beats, and we are here with Little Lunch Online from Arts Front. And today it's another Hot Brown Honey takeover. So let's begin. First of all, of course, at the forefront of everything we do, we send our love and respect to the First Nations people of this land that we are on. So I'm on Yagara country, you're all on different countries at the moment. So when I say love, you say respect. I don't need to hear you. You say it loud though. Okay. Let's go. Love.
Respect.
Yes. Love.
Respect.
Yes, that's right. Always was, always will be. And today we are joined by a very special honey, very special guest, the awesome, the amazing, the undeniable, the unstoppable, Janelle Aguila is in the place.
Hey everybody.
Yes.
Thanks, Busty. That was pretty boss shout out there. Boom.
Yeah, I'm good with the shout outs. So just before we get into this convo, just a few things just from some housekeeping stuff. So this lunch is being recorded and it will be streamed live and available for viewing afterwards on www.llol.com.au. We're sticking to the 30 minutes time frame. We invite people to introduce themselves on the Zoom chat and let us know whose country you're on today. There's live captioning available if people want to click on the caption icon on Zoom. We've got signing from Susan at Auslan Stage. Yes. And, you know, if people participating, you just need to click on Susan's video and pin it if you want to see the live signing. If you have a question, just type it in the Zoom chat and I'll be checking them as we go. And please keep your mics off or muted while we are speaking. Okay. Any tech problems, just email contact@artsfront.com. So let's get into this. Janelle Aguila.
Hey. Hey, Busty. Hey, everybody.
You are an absolutely amazing artist, independent, multidisciplinary artist, a maker, a director, a collaborator, a facilitator, a comedian, and a host. And you aspire to inspire.
Boom.
So tell us a little bit about you, where you're from, all that sort of stuff. Let's go.
Oh, we could be here for days. Yeah, name is Janelle Aguila. I'm proud Torres Strait Islander woman. Mainland born Torres Strait Islander woman from Rockhampton, Sydney-based, independent. I call myself an arts navigator now because I feel like, you know, those boundaries and categories and stuff are quite limiting and I don't want to limit myself. So yeah, been navigating professionally for the last 13, 14 years in the arts and yeah, kind of a storyteller. Using any kind of vessel at the moment, but the main vessel that I'm using is dance. So yeah, but I'm looking to branch out and explore and navigate and all of that kind of stuff, which is why I call myself an arts navigator. So yeah, currently residing on Gadigal country in the Eora Nation. Boom.
Yes. So yes, you do work a lot in dance, contemporary dance. And you were the winner of is it the Kia choreography?
Yeah, the Kia Choreographic Awards. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. 2016, I managed to snatch up those 2 awards. That was pretty boss. Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. Because I mean, you work a lot with like force majeure as well with dance.
I do. Yeah. I'm really fortunate. I'm Force Majeure's artistic associate artist, which is really, really exciting. They support me in everything that I do as an independent with mentoring. So Danielle Michich is my main mentor. I have many mentors. I try not to limit myself to one, because I navigate so many things that I try to get information from as many people as I can. And you know, I'm always learning, and because I always want to skill up, right? So I make sure that I'm surrounded by a bunch of people. Well, Force Majeure is really looking after me. And I'm really, really fortunate that a small to medium company is actually taking me as an independent underneath their wings. So they help me with grants. They help me with my projects within the industry and also without. So I also teach as well. I facilitate in regional to remote communities, and they support me with that kind of stuff as well. So, you know, holistically, they really look after my life, really.
Yes.
Yay.
And you've done a lot. I mean, we would also know you from, you know, especially your dance work from a show called Move It Mob Style.
Hey. Well, yeah, I don't know if the mainstream really know about Move It Mob Style, but all the black fellas do, and that's what counts.
Yeah.
Because that still runs that sucker. That was really fun to do all those years ago, but apparently I still look the same, so I'm cool with that.
Yeah, that was very
thanks
good.
Melanin. Thanks Melanin.
Yeah. So you, I mean, we met many moons ago, but you've kind of worked across, like, I mean, you know, your work is in dance, but here I see, and I know, of course, that you also won the Deadly Funny Award.
Yeah.
For comedy.
Yeah, 2017 comedy. Yeah. Yep. That was it. What's really good about the Deadly Funny Awards is that all they ask you to do is yarn a deadly, like a funny yarn.
Yeah.
So all you got to do is just find the courage to pretty much stand on a stage in front of and just talk into a microphone, and that's kind of it, really. So yeah, they, you know, the looseness and the support around that was actually quite it was quite chill to do, and you know, it was on the bucket list. And yeah, so I was watching that Deadly Funny application for a while, and then I finally had time and got to smash it out. So yeah, that was pretty next level.
And how do you find, like, I mean, like you say, as an arts navigator, you're continually in these very different spaces, but it's all the arts, right?
Yeah.
And when it comes down to it, it's like you are absolutely fantastic Black woman doing your thing in the arts, and it's kind of is all those things. But do you find there's like differences when you move from space to space?
Yes and no. I mean, I guess the main difference is vocabulary. You know, like the way that they talk in film is totally different to the way they talk in dance, and the way they talk in dance is totally different to the way they talk in theatre. So in terms of vocabulary, it's different, but you know, holistically, it's the same. I'm just in another white space, you know, and that's kind of really what happens. So yeah, I mean, you know, you'll find people that are aware, culturally aware, and then there's people that just are nowhere near anything. So yeah, so at the moment it's same but different. So,
yeah. And so
I don't know if that was clear or not.
That's so good. Yeah, so you also navigated these theatre worlds, like you you know, you were in Julius Caesar with Bell Shakespeare, and then you've kind of gone on to do all this TV work as well. Just everything, and you will be on Play School very shortly.
Yes, I will be. That was really amazing. That was so cool. Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting too that you continue to push through, like, you know, it's a resilience that that I'm inspired by, to like make sure your face is seen, because like
absolutely, it's
about representation as well for all Black kids.
I navigate the reason why I navigate the way I navigate is because I want to practice what I preach. You know, I go to these communities and I hang out with all these young black fellas, you know, and I keep telling them that they can do and they can be whoever they want to be, or do whatever they want to do. But you know, I mean, it's quite empty, right? If the person that's telling them to do these things doesn't actually apply it themselves. And that's what I believe. So I feel like I can't tell them that to do these things unless I actually try to do it myself. Which is why I navigate the way that I do. Also find that I can do those things as well. It's just a matter of kind of readapting. And I mean, you know, already been assimilated, living in a colonized place, the world, as a black fella. So, you know, I'm kind of pretty next level to adapting anyway. It's a matter of putting my pro adaption into a variety of spaces that I can, you know, hopefully find visibility in, so young people can see that, you know, young black fellas can see that they can do whatever they want, however they want, so long as they work hard. You know, obviously it's a lot easier said than done. Like navigating is so hard. But you'll find the more that you chip away at all these places, all these institutions, that there are people that are in there that can help you navigate as well. Which is why Force Majeure, Dance Theatre Company is a, you know, they're my umbrella. They're helping me to find spaces as well that were probably not available to me without a white company, you know, which is also the state of Australia still. So yeah, you know, there's people out there, you just got to find them, and keen to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, also back to the other question that, you know, like in terms of difference, yeah, working in a variety of different places. So like Bell Shakespeare, for example, is an institution. So working for an institution is totally different to working for a small, you know, arts company as well.
Yeah.
And you know, it's funny how much money makes a difference. And how obvious the lack thereof in places where I personally feel like there should be money, you know, to help is actually quite huge. You know, I really believe in our young people, and I would, you know, I feel like we need to nurture them in order for us to be able to get to the future that we want to get, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so the current situation of the arts in the country right now, you know, making my heart sore. I can imagine everybody's feeling the same, but especially for me, for young people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And
yeah, institutions are very different.
yeah. And I mean, just talking about where we're at now, how are you going, like, as an independent maker in this particular, you know, this pandemic, which is like, you know, talks directly to, we're really seeing the amount of inequalities. We're also seeing how the arts is actually viewed, and
Yeah,
and
but
how,
we all know
we
that.
all know that already.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just being more prominent now because we
Yeah.
can
Yeah, it is.
actually.
It is really more prominent now.
Mm.
Yeah, look, I navigate how I need to navigate. You know, I try not to think about negative and positive things, if that makes sense. I think of the present thing right now.
Yeah.
What can I do for myself right now?
Mm.
Because I think if like personally, if I think any further, I think that would probably break my mind.
Yeah.
So yeah, at the moment I'm looking at this time frame as a way of skilling up. So I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, I finally have time to do stuff. So yeah, so I shifted my perspective, not necessarily in a positive or a negative way. It's more of a productive way
Mm.
for myself. So yeah, like I sleep at random hours. So sometimes I'll go to sleep at like 5 a.m. in the morning, and I'll wake up at, I don't know, maybe 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and I'm chill with that.
Yeah.
So like the normal for me, that's not even really a word. I don't like using the word normal.
Mm.
So the way that I'm navigating right now is just kind of doing what I feel I need to do. and every output anyway is going to be creative or artistic, just because that's who I am anyway. So I try not to push anything further than I need to, because we need to reserve for the long haul.
Yeah, it's so true. And
Right.
that's good, because that's a really the mindset of like, it's a self-care mindset,
Yeah,
and it
yeah,
is
totally,
a
totally.
wider care mindset as well. Yeah. So you've also, oh my gosh, you've also created a work. You've created a number of works, but you have a one-woman theatre show that I'd like to talk about a bit.
Yeah, sweet.
And
Happy about that.
yeah, I wouldn't mind just showing this clip.
Yeah.
I love it.
Righto. Go on then. Yeah.
So I'll share the screen. Here we go. Share that one.
Another scene that I really like, I call the town hall scene, which is where I actually try to get a white man to stand in a black woman's shoes. And I try to convince the audience as well that they are a part of this too. Because I like working directly with the audience. I like having a conversation. I don't like, I just perform and you just watch me. I don't like that, because I don't like the separation of audience and talent. Like, I think that's such a weird concept. So I break that. And I like trying to engage with people in a way that when they leave, it is together. It's not just about them experiencing something quite separate. And in that particular scene, everyone is involved. So I like that one because it makes people think. And that's what art is about. You know, you're trying to shift the perception, and I like the power of that. The hardest thing about Mauruai is changing the perception of the people that are watching the show. So what I needed to do was I needed to get an array of tools in my belt that would allow me to try to change the mind of this person here or this person here. And, you know, the idea is that if I can just change one person, you know, doesn't matter if the theatre is packed or if there's only, you know, like 2 people in there, all I got to do is change one person's perception of a woman of colour or a black fella in this country or whatever. And then I've done my job. So the hardest thing for me is trying to change that mind through my storytelling.
Yes. Turn that one off. Yes. So, I mean, you know, your work is deeply personal, you know,
Yep.
these stories, and they're also, and hugely hilarious. So in making that work, like, you know, do you feel like, because it really was also, it showed so many, it was lots of emotions for me, like as someone being in, like, watching, and yeah, how did that process go for you? I mean, I'm sure it could.
Yeah, it was huge actually. It was huge in the sense of me as a person changing as well. So when I first of all, my team. So my director is Rachel Mazza, Rachel Lama, artistic director of the Ilbidgery Theatre Company, and my dramaturg is Cait Champion, founder of Force Majeure Dance Theatre Company, and that was my team to navigate this huge story. It started in a place where I actually just wanted to meet Rachel Lama, Rachel Mazza. So I made up that I wanted to create a solo show just so I could meet her. And then, but then she asked me to do the work, and I was like, "What? I've never done this before. I don't know." And she was like, "Well, let's just sit down and have a yarn." And for the 4 days, I was just yarning. She was writing pretty much the structure of the script of how to navigate this thing. And what was really funny, like that first, and we laugh about it now too, but that first chunk, the first phase of Maruruai, I call it the happy blackie phase. And it's because I wanted to make a show that was pleasing for the audience. I didn't want to be a violent black person. I didn't want to be, a depressed black person. I didn't want to be, like all of these stereotypes that they have around black, that people have around the perception of black theatre or black arts. So I've heard that they find it gloomy, or they find it, like heavy. And I totally didn't want to be one of those black fellas, so I call it the happy blackie phase, because I just wanted to be all bells and whistles and like, yeah, I'm happy, I'm always happy. There's nothing going on with the black fellas in this country, in this world, whatever. But then I actually, then I went through phases, and it was only from trying new things. So I did a choreographic lab with Marageku Dance Theatre Company, Broome-based Dahlia Pigram, hero, and also co-director Rachel Swain, and they took me on this choreographic lab to New Caledonia, and in that time frame, I was actually doing research on my identity as well and my history, and found out that I actually have lineage to New Caledonia, Leefu Island in particular, and when we started doing work there, I realized that there was a connection that I was missing, this other blackfella connection, and a deeper cultural meaning for my identity and myself. So I started asking all these questions about, who I am and where I come from. And the biggest thing that kind of stood out for me at that place was the fact that that's a brown island, and it is brown run. So it was huge for me to walk into the airport and see black custom people, like in the custom area, like there were black people. And then I walked outside and there were black taxi drivers. And majority of the stores that I went to are black owned and black run. There was just so many black people in authority that I've never seen before. And that shook my whole world. Because when I come back to Australia, I was like, well, hold on a second. We're meant to be a black country, but all these white fellas are running the show, like I barely see any black fellas in any of those places, in those spaces. And I'm not saying that they're not there. That was my perception at the time. And this was, about 4 or 5 years ago now. And instantly I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in a position to question things now. So that's what I did. So I went to Rachel Mazza and I went to Cait Champion, and I was like, oi, this is what I experienced. So this is now what I want to do at the work. I want to say something, So Nina Simone says, like the duty of an artist, she believes the duty of an artist is actually to tell the times, to tell the story of the times. And I'm like, okay, so here I am as a storyteller. What is it that I want to do? What is it that I want to say? And I was like, well, I want to say something, but I want to do it in a way, because, white fragility is a thing. If I keep telling my truth, some white fellas that have trouble dealing with it, the guilt, all of that kind of stuff, they put it back on me, and that's how I feel the reception is. They're like, why do you keep doing that? Why do you keep doing that to us? So that's how come I have a black director and a white dramaturg, because the white dramaturg is going to help me, right, with the white narrative, in the sense that I can talk to white fellas in a way that they don't feel scared or attacked or anything like that, even though it's the truth, So that's how I was navigating my uruai. I was like, righto, I have this black story. I want to put it in white spaces, but I needed to be aware that was the case. Like I needed to be aware, actually my narrative doesn't fit in this space. So how can I find a way to put it in there that doesn't make anybody feel alienated to what I'm trying to say? So yeah, there was lots of discussions. Majority of the development actually was yarning and stories and yarning and stories and yarning, and finding the perception of how to tweak this and how to shift that. And and then it grew as I went. So when Belvoir was so boss, they totally wanted to give me a crack. you know, like this dance person trying to do storytelling in this, you know, time frame. Like I wasn't well known in the theatre realm, but they totally gave me a crack. They put me into Belvoir for 3 weeks, and over that time frame, you know, as an independent, right, we have this much amount of time to be able to shift things, so you do it as you go, right? So yeah, so I was just constantly, every show I did, there would be a new tweak, there would be a shift, there would be like the original formula for that town hall scene was actually a white person, but by the end of the Belvoir season, the formula is actually a white man, and it needed to be a white man because they would never be put in that position, you know. And it was those things that we had to keep kind of tweaking. And what's really interesting is that when you get one white fella, one white man up on stage with you, instantly the whole audience sees themselves. Even the white woman sees themselves in that white man. Like, and that perception, you know, we only found out that formula by you know, trial and error, obviously, and how it felt with me and how I could feel the audience, because that was a conversation, right, that was happening. So yeah, it was quite huge and it's still, you know, I still tweak it. Like when I know there's blackfellas in the audience, it'll be a different show again, because I know that I'm telling the stories in a particular way for the blackfellas to know that they are comfortable in this space. So, you know, there's a lot of tweaking as I go, and shifting as I go, which, you know, I can do that because it's my story. But I also have the support and a solid structure with Rachel Mazza and Cait Champion, so they allow me to go, yep, you can probably push it to that point, or actually that's a little bit too far. And having those conversations, that's a bit too, and it's only too far because of where we are in a society as well. So, you know, the way that my urwai is made is to be as flexible as possible within the structure. So yeah, it was quite huge, but it seems like we pulled it off well. So pretty proud of that show.
Yeah, that's awesome. Just in this last little bit here, because I'm just checking the time, but
oh yeah, sorry,
that's all right.
Just took up the whole thing.
You know, so we've had experiences with you coming across to Hot Brown Honey, and
life-changing for me. Hot Brown Honey was life-changing for me. There's no spaces in Australia that has that kind of space. All women of color, all independent artists, all smashing out narratives that you don't actually necessarily find on the mainstream stage all the time, and that empowered me like no other. That was also quite instrumental in my urwai as well, that it gave me permission as a Black woman to be able to take space too. So big shout out to you, Busty, and Lisa Fa'alafi for allowing me to find myself, the strength that's already within myself to be able to navigate spaces as well. So yeah, got a big shout out for Hot Brown Honey.
Oh, thanks, G.
Yeah, man, you guys are my heroes, man, boss. Yeah,
and that's why your superhero name is the Groundbreaker. I've just got a question here, which we might try and get in.
Yeah.
And it's just like, is it demotivating or frustrating when non-white artists get hit with white fragility every time we speak up? And in most instances, we end up leaving those institutions or orgs. What are your tips to manage those conversations or situations?
To manage white fragility? The thing about, is from a Black fella's perspective, I always lead with positive affirmations. Always lead with that, because, you know, that's the way to allow them to kind of chillax for a sec, and then you always got to talk good ways, even if it's frustrating and even if you're angry with the situation. The key for me is that I'm finding that articulation for them is, you know, like using their vocabulary is actually the best way in, because they don't know any better right now. And that's how I navigate. You also find allies as well. That like force majeure, like Danielle and Cait, they really help me navigate those kind of things as well. Because sometimes I just want to tell someone, just like, hey, mate, you're ignorant, just wake up. But that's never going to change anything, you know. The institution of this country, the systematic institutionalization of everybody's minds in this country is quite deep. So you always got to hit it with compassion and love. Like even that doesn't matter how much they've done to our people, like you always lead with that, and that always can strike conversations. Yeah, it's hard. But we always got to remember that we're doing it for the next generation. And that's the main thing. You know, we never plant the seeds today for trees today. We plant the seeds for tomorrow. So we got to make sure that that tree is going to be there for them when they come through. And that, you know, like walking in an easier, shadier path is definitely better than, you know, the sun that is burning down on all of us. So yeah, always got to think bigger than ourselves. And that's how I navigate. It's hard. It's hard. But you know that the fruits of the hard work is going to be easier for the next generation, and that's really what I'm interested in. So that's why I aspire to inspire.
Yeah, and it is very inspiring to hear big sentiment in our hearts, because man, the anger can be something else.
Oh yeah, I'm angry every day. But you know, the anger is not going to help us. Like in the set, like to lead with anger is not going to help us. So yeah, I feel the love and the compassion, because you know, that's what actually helps me to navigate. And you know, and it's true. I'd actually rather people treat me compassionately. So I lead with that.
Yeah, and what an awesome note to end on. Thank you so much, Noah.
Hey, also, thanks everybody. That was biggest yarns about myself. Thanks for listening, everyone. Stinking heck.
Yeah. So like, you know, this will go up onto the Arts Front website. There'll be a link, and there are some more some questions there too, like some other questions which would be really great to expand on.
Oh yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Thanks everybody for sitting in. I proper appreciate it. That's solid.
Yeah, awesome. Excellent. Just big shout out again, Janelle McGill in the house of this Hot Honey takeover.
Thanks everybody.
So we just we're going to finish off here, but also there's some information that will come through Arts Front about what is going to be happening on Little Lunches from next week, because there's some interesting stuff. We're going to talk about the future. We're going to talk about how we're going to make it happen. We're going to do some imagining, and that will all come through very shortly. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Peace.
Bye. Yes.